Good evening, Cheeseheads, and welcome to the Spurs versus Marseille Instant Reaction Cheese Room show. And joining me for this, instant reaction, all the way from the West Country, is Gibbo. How are you, mate?
Evening, mate. Yeah, happy with that. 2-0 win, off the mark. Performance wasn't great, but we got the result in the end, didn't we? So we'll dissect it in a minute, but Liverpool lost as well, which is fucking brilliant. So, yeah, looking forward to getting stuck into it.
Absolutely. And a man who's been working with me today, because we've had graduation at the uni, my son, James. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm tired, actually, but because I woke up at 7. Because I woke up at 7 yesterday. So, yeah. I would just like... I'm good. I would just like to add to that, Matt. Liverpool didn't just lose. They got fucking embarrassed.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Welcome to all those in the chat. And also joining us on his way back from the stadium, he's not driving and you can't really see him. Live from the A10, it is Caller. How are you, Caller? Definitely not driving.
Just to prove it, here's my hand. There's my driver. There he is. Bless him. Sean, the chauffeur, is driving me home tonight. Been poorly, so I didn't even drink at the ground, really. So, yeah, happy with the 3 points, but devastated about the performance, really. It's a long way to go on a Wednesday night to watch that, isn't it?
Oh, it is indeed.
Things we do for love.
Shall we have a quick chat about the starting lineup? Only one change, I believe it was Perisic for Cess, wasn't it? Otherwise, I thought we'd have 3 or 4 changes, to be honest. Gibbo? What do you think? Oh, Gibbo's frozen, is he? Caller, what do you think about the starting lineup?
Yeah, what did I think? I was surprised. I thought he might have brought Sessegnon, or kept with Sessegnon from the weekend. Perisic, I suppose, has got that Champions League experience, hasn't he? I was surprised there weren't more changes ahead of the weekend's football. I would have liked to have seen Kulusevski come in, but alas. We got to see him in the end off the bench, but I thought Son needs to be rotated. Though.
You've got a question already. I don't know if you can see that, Caller. Did you park in the high road? Did you park in the usual car park?
Yeah, not far from.
Or closer? Right, okay. Gibbo,
A little bit closer.
starting lineup. Was there anyone else you'd have liked in?
I wasn't sure what he'd do at right wing back, because Emerson's played every game, hasn't he? And from what I saw, I didn't think he had a bad game, so I'm glad he started. Not really. I thought he might bring Kulusevski back in, but he never. So, yeah, I wasn't really surprised. I wasn't upset about what he did, but he put a team out what he thought could win, and they made hard work of it for 75 minutes before we scored, didn't we? So, is what it is. Big game on Saturday. I think he's got some big decisions to make now.
Yeah, absolutely. James, what do you think? We just have to accept it was we got the win, we got through it, and we move on to the next game on Saturday.
Yeah, I think so. Marseille played very disruptive football. They were playing quite compact in between their lines, and they were pressing quite intensely, which I guess we struggled with. I thought they didn't seem like they threatened a whole lot. I think we weren't quick enough in the midfield, and we possibly could have adapted quicker. But at the same time, I don't think we've played particularly brilliantly in that aspect of our game since the end of last season. So I'm not sure what that's about. But at the end of the day, they didn't threaten massively in our box. And when we finally started to attack, we did. So I suppose you can't.
On the TV, my biggest frustration, we couldn't keep the ball. My frustration was we weren't playing a few long balls to get Sonny and Richarlison their pace. Obviously, in the stadium, did it seem like there was a lot of space for them to run into? Is he with us? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, acres of space for them to run into. They weren't really making the runs. And no one could pick a pass. The first 45 minutes, it was like the whole team hadn't played together before. They could barely pass the ball, and that's not. I'm not going to pick anyone out particularly or call anyone out. I thought it was pretty much across the whole team. Kane, Son, were just completely fruitless. The midfield, Bentancur and Højbjerg. Yeah, Højbjerg blasted a crossfield pass like miles out into touch. That's not like him. And even at the back, Longley and Perisic experienced professional footballers couldn't pass 5 yards. So it was just disjointed. It felt very laboured, very lazy. But I think you have to credit Marseille a little bit, who, they knew what they were doing. They packed the midfield. They played three at the back, which, we've spoken various times on various shows about how we don't play well when there's three when we're playing.
Oh, and he's gone.
He's
back.
In midfield. The closing down was better, and they had a clear game plan and stuck to it. Can you hear?
Okay.
Did you hear all that?
Yeah. You drifted out again, but you came back. It's fine. I can't remember what I was going to say now. James, were you frustrated because it wasn't just Højbjerg missed pass the ball? Bentancur was doing it. They were all pretty much doing it, weren't they?
Well, Romero was as well, to be fair. He had a couple mistimed tackles. I mean, at one point, he slid in, completely missed the ball, and Emerson was the one who covered for him, surprisingly. Quite well, I should add. It was just difficult to watch. We just seemed to struggle to pass the ball. We didn't really have time on the ball. And it was just a bit of a dull watch for large portions of the game. It wasn't really until the second half where we started to pass the ball properly.
Glenn Hoddle said at half-time how he just could not believe how the intensity wasn't there, James. And I just, given the crowd, there was a lot of noise for the game. They asked to try and build the atmosphere, which the fans were doing. And it was just flat, wasn't it? Just very... I just don't get it. What do you... Are they being overtrained?
I don't know. It's just so slow. Like in so many games this season.
Do you know what? The build-up was amazing.
Yeah.
The build-up in the stadium was amazing. The light show was amazing. The video, the video montage, the light show, the crowd were up for it. All pre-kickoff. Match started. 5 minutes in, it went flat as a pancake.
That's the tempo, mate. It's the tempo we play at.
Just knocking it around the back, and Marseille pressed us, and we couldn't play through it.
When we start playing at that tempo, it never goes well. Like Fulham were a different kettle of fish, but we started to get the ball, pass and move. And you start pinging passes off, and people are running and moving off the ball. But the tempo Spurs play at, it's like Romero would sort of drive forward towards the edge of the box, and then he'd put his foot on it and stop. And of course, even when Marseille got 10, that everybody gets behind the ball, and there's nowhere to, and we're not moving. There's nowhere to pass the ball. So it's just like the starting tempo. They just, you see the ball go into a player's foot, into somebody's feet, and you think, just knock it round the corner and move. If there's going to be someone there, and have these, because we're meant to have these patterns of play, but we sort of stop, put our foot on the ball, move one way, move the other. Everybody gets back in position, then we have to play it back or play a sideways ball. And I think the tempo things is the issue. We need to be pinging it around, and that's when players come out and you can draw people up, and then you can exploit that space for like Son to run into. And then you nick that ball for him. We did it a few times towards the end when Kulusevski come on. But I think that tempo, and I don't know if that's down to the players on the pitch or what they're told to do to start off with. But apparently, like Gina said, the players out early means one thing. They've had a rocket. They've been told, get back out there, short, sharp, get out there and raise it. So it's got to be on them, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there was no doubt they were going to get a rocket. I messaged Steve to say, you'll be able to hear Conte at halftime from the Tunnel Club, because you could tell he was annoyed. It wasn't going well. There's been some comments up saying the ref was playing. He wasn't really on it from the first moment, was he? He made some strange decisions. In the end, it went our way, because that red card, I think it could have gone either way.
He got the important one right, though, didn't he, John?
We did, absolutely. It's worked for us. The interesting thing is that was basically the only thing Sonny did well the whole game, was make that run. What I don't understand was what Mbemba was doing, because if he stands up, seeing how Sonny's been playing, he probably wouldn't have scored. But he was about to go in the box. He slid in, took him down. But Sonny even tried to get up, didn't he? Tried to keep going. Yeah. Desperate for the goal.
His decision making's poor at the minute, Son's, isn't it?
Yeah, cool. What was your view on Sonny tonight in the stadium? Oh, is he there?
Cool. Poor, there. And the crowd are very... Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can, yeah.
Poor and exasperated, I would say. Poor and very exasperated. The crowd were on his back a little bit. And just sitting around. I mean, there's not one single person that doesn't think Sonny should be dropped. You know, rotated, call it what you like. You know, he's so out of form. His touch is heavy. He makes the wrong decisions. The guy needs a break. I'd stick him on the bench and put Kulusevski in, who, by the way, when he came on, looked really good, was taking his man on, getting round the back, doing the things we like to see from him. So, yeah.
Great footballer.
I mean, I thought first half we needed Kulusevski because he's quite good at holding the ball up and turning and his movement. And Richarlison was trying, and I thought he played all right. Sonny just could, every time the ball went Sonny, he was getting kicked. Or at one point, he just needed to turn and run with the ball, but he tried to do a little flick and lost the ball. His decision making's off at the moment. We know
that
it is. He's
shot,
a streaky player.
Did you see that shot he had? That summed him up in the second half. Yeah. Didn't connect with it. Yeah. And that run where he was running, and he's rapid, but he sort of didn't. He looked like he would for him running in mud, and then he just delayed. He didn't know whether to pass or keep going, and in the end, he just sort of took it into the box and stopped, and then turned back again. He just made like nothing come of it. And the reason people are saying about him being rotated is not because he's missing chances and stuff. It's just because his decision making and he's just not at it at the minute. But City coming up, he's got a good record against them. So what do you do?
James, what would you do? Would you play Sonny or Kulusevski at City?
That's difficult, right? Because he loves the goal against City. Scored against them in the Champions League. May have scored against them last season. Did he? Can't remember. The thing is, arguably, Kulusevski came on and had a good impact. Richarlison just scored 2 goals. You're not going to drop Kane. And Kulusevski scored against City at the Etihad last season. So, from that, I think it's arguable you do drop Son, because he hasn't looked 100% on it. And I'm not saying that because I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's obviously world-class, obviously a brilliant player. He just looks a little bit off it at the moment, and maybe he needs a bit of a, mental reset or something, because this isn't the Son we know, and it's not like he's turned 70 or something and lost all his speed. He's just not quite all there. There was one time where he was running through and it was 4-on-4 and Perisic was to his left and he just delayed and then passed him way too late. I'm just thinking, Son, be decisive, make the decision, you know.
You know,
maybe you do.
James, what do you think of this? Right, obviously people will go mad at this. I'm not saying this is what I want to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if Richarlison's put back on the bench and he goes Son, Kulusevski and Kane. That's not out of the question.
No, it's not out of the question. Of course, it's not.
No.
Actually saying Son's pace won us the game. It certainly won us the red card.
Yeah.
And it would have been interesting. Had he gone on and scored, would we have seen him then just go off and suddenly everything come off for him and come in a completely different result in many ways and been better for us overall. But the red card definitely helped us. It meant they had to sit back even more. But yeah, it meant we had time on the ball, didn't we?
They're time wasting in that though. I mean, that I do not miss that about watching that type of football.
Well, it was the difference on Saturday, wasn't it? The was it the player got booked really early on by the ref, didn't they, on Saturday?
Yeah. Just
it's not going to happen in Europe.
No, you don't get.
It'll happen to us away when we're playing in Marseille or somewhere else. It will happen to us.
But we have got to. I think it's a tempo. It's just when you start playing like that and teams just sit in and then they just go down at the drop of a hat, just makes it difficult, doesn't it? I think when you're at home in big games you've got to start with intensity and good tempo and get moving and get buzzing and get the crowd even more behind you. Like you could hear the crowd going for that one period, couldn't they? They had a bloke sent off and the crowd were urging them on and they sort of tried to up it, but it's hard to that intensity thing to go slow and then go quick, especially against these sort of like teams like Marseille. And they're a little bit savvy, aren't they? So, but we got the result in the end.
Yeah, Paul has had to leave us. He was struggling with his bandwidth, so he's gone now, and it's a bit quieter in here as well without all the car background noise.
Nice and quiet now.
Lots of comments. Kerry's suggesting maybe we play all 4 of them, but there'll be no impact off the bench. I saw Brian was on the bench today, but that was the only other real attacking option we have. Joel Hogan saying play all of them, which would be very bold indeed up at City. Big Daddy saying we need to rest him. It'd be a miracle if we come away with how Haaland's playing. I absolutely agree with that. We just need to stop De Bruyne getting in the ball. That's probably one of the key moves we need to do. Harmick saying play Son. Kerry agrees with you, Gibbo. Richie,
I think
is a big impact. Yeah.
I think Son's playing on Saturday.
Then, is it Weebly or Webley? So apologies if I've said that incorrectly.
So
Sonny
Weebly
just needs to
Doll.
get one. Yeah, just needs to get one. We all know that. He just needs one to fly, and he had a couple so close on Saturday against Fulham. It's just a matter of time. If there was no red card, do you think we still win? Well, the way we were playing, no. I think it could have easily been a 1-0 defeat or a draw. But then if there's no red card, there's a good chance Son goes on the box and scores. Unless you mean it's yellow. Yeah. I mean, yeah. They were just playing the game, weren't they? All European teams have played, trying to get our players booked. Guendouzi was in the ref's ear from the first minute trying to get Dyer booked, and he did eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know, because both of our goals came from crosses, right? Which could have happened even if they had 11 players. They weren't, Cruyffian football. They were. It's not Sam Allardyce football, but it was very simple crossing the ball. And Richie won 2 headers. He took 2 chances as well. If they had an extra player on the pitch, I don't necessarily think that changes it because he was.
The difference is they had to sit back when they went down to 10. So we were able to get the crosses in. We weren't getting the crosses in first half, were we?
No, but I think what James is saying is right because, he's made himself a yard, hasn't he, Perisic, and put a decent ball in, and I know what you're saying, but what's the second one was a corner, wasn't it? And then it went out the other side, and then Højbjerg whipped it in for another assist, caller, and then so obviously that's just come. That would obviously that being down to 10 men, but yeah, I think that those 2 goals possibly could have come from that. I didn't think we made the 10 men advantage really pay by pinging it around and making the extra man count. Did you, James? We didn't.
No. I would have thought that once they went down to 10 men, we'd have gonna raise the tempo a lot, or at least try to, and play a lot more aggressively.
Yeah.
Whereas we played a lot slower. We played like a team that was already 2-0 up. At times it kind of seemed. I think after the first goal, once we had the ball, the players and everyone in the stadium and myself were a lot more comfortable with just keeping the ball sort of thing and knocking it about because you're 1-0 up and they didn't seem like scoring at that point. So, there's that. But yeah, when you're chasing the game like that, you've got to go full throttle, haven't you?
Yeah. I think going back to the half-time point about they must have had a rocket. Obviously, we hadn't really played a lot of balls through for Sonny or Richarlison to run onto. The one time we did was 2 minutes into the second half.
Yeah.
So it might have been that we would have made that move a number of times, but as soon as the red card came, they had to change their tactics. They had to sit deeper.
Yeah.
So we're never really going to know how the second half would have panned out.
And it doesn't really matter, does it?
We would have had chances. Sonny Richarlison would have had chances that second half, and it became a whole new ball game for us because it was attack versus defense, old school, wasn't it? And then trying to hit us on the counter. So it's hard to tell what Conte's words at halftime had really. I'm going to answer this. How long's Calder's journey? I believe he's due in 11:30 was what the sat nav was saying. So it's not too bad, is it?
Nah, not bad.
There is 99 of you watching, only 35 likes. Please, can you click the like button? It doesn't cost you anything and helps us out. We're only doing a short analysis tonight. We will be back on Friday at 9 o'clock. Caller will be joined by Flat Cap Jack. We've got a Man City fan on for half an hour, haven't we, Gibbo? That you saw.
Yeah.
It's not Andy. It's not Man Candy. So don't worry.
No, this man seems really nice.
At the moment, just don't mention oil. I've forgotten who else we've got. Oh, Paul Muir's coming on and Craig's coming back. So we've got a great team for Friday night.
Great lineup. Yeah. Did you? I mean, I don't know if it make any difference, but like a game like that, we just lack that little bit of guile, don't we? Kane drops in when you think you want him further up the pitch, occupying the centre backs, playing in the wide men. And I really like Højbjerg. I really like Bentancur, but just that little bit of sort of extra guile, just to maybe beat a man and play and play someone in or start dictating the tempo a bit more. We sort of miss that one player that can do that, don't we? I
know Cool did, but I want us to sign Ericsson. Just he would not necessarily play at the beat a man, but someone that can. Bentancur's good on the ball. Højbjerg's okay. I think Bentancur's better, but Bissouma's similar level. Skip can play a backward blinds pass, but he's okay. But he's not. We haven't got that one player, and I know it's because it's not the way Conte plays. His strength's through the wing backs. The problem is our right side. We don't have that player. We've got one on the left in Perisic. We don't have that clever player So we really need to sign someone in the midfield. And interesting how tonight Marcus Edwards, former Spurs youth player who Poch described as possibly Messi-esque, played a starring role for Sporting Lisbon in our group. Sorry, Sporting Club de Portugal in our group. And he was he 23, 24 now?
Yeah.
But I'd love to have someone like that.
Here's another thing. I don't know what you think, James. Obviously, we got Perisic on the one side. And you said about we don't get that. I thought Emerson did well today. But like when you get in that attacking third, you don't get the same with him as you do from Perisic. But Kulusevski went and played sort of right wing back. And he started. We had options from both sides then, didn't we? You can move it across. When you've got the other guy on the other side, who they've got to worry about putting across him. Because Emerson put across him. But it just sort of was lofted into the box with no real. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Kulusevski and Perisic put a bit of whip on it, put a bit of bend on it, so you just got to get something on it, and without sort of ripping Emerson to pieces, just that difference in quality from that area on that side, like when what you got with Perisic made all the difference, didn't it?
Definitely. I mean, when Kulusevski came on, I think it was like the 60th minute. He showed real intent of every time he got the ball. He was trying to run forward. He was trying to cross it. All of his crosses, I thought, were in the right sort of area. And all of them are, in my head, I went a bit, oh, this could go in. Someone could get on this. Whereas you don't get out of Emerson, do you? I mean, I will say, I thought Emerson had a good game defensively today.
Yeah.
He had a couple of really good recoveries and a couple of really good tackles. So I'll give him that. Because he did well in that aspect, which just kind of reaffirms what we've said for quite a long time, is he's probably quite a good right back, but not a good right wing back. So that's, in a game where we're chasing, bringing Kulusevski on, or putting Kulusevski to right wing back, is possibly a decent plan B.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't start that against City unless Conte's feeling very, very bold.
No, I can't see that, mate.
James, what do you think part of what makes it work is Romero is our best attacking centre-back. So, and obviously we know Emerson's our best defensive fullback. So in a way, those two can dovetail because we know that Emerson's not brilliant going forwards, but he is good defensively.
I do wonder how much as you transition in the phase of play to attacking from defending, how much it would help if you almost shunted Romero out to right wing back. And then Royal didn't push forward and he just tucked in as that cover player. I don't know if Romero can really cross that well, but I don't know. It's something to think about.
No,
he tried to put a couple in tonight and they weren't great. But he looked a bit stodgy. I thought, do you reckon he was injured? Do you reckon he was carrying a bit of a knock when he come on off?
Apparently, Steve said he kicked the chairs. He was furious. He came off. Apparently,
was he?
Romero, yeah, he was absolutely livid.
He played poorly at times today. He had a sloppy slide tackle, which he didn't get himself sent off for, but he missed completely. And some of his passing wasn't brilliant. So, I don't think he was brilliant either, Dave.
He's usually better progressing the ball, isn't he? Yeah. He just seemed a little bit sort of like tonight he'd get to a certain point and then he didn't really know what to do. Maybe that was the movement in front of him as well. But, great player. No, great player, but he wasn't great.
Can either of you explain this? Tanganga and Davis coming
right. I think he wanted to go to a back four, so he put Tanganga at right back and Davies at left back, I'm guessing. That's what I thought, because I saw them both warming up and I was like, hang on. Davies, okay, not that much of a oddity, because he does run forward more than Longley. Longlay's better on the ball, whereas passing, whereas Davies will go forward a lot. And he had a good block at the end of the game. But Tanganga, I'm like, really? Because then he later brought on Doherty as well. So, I don't know.
Obviously, there was no other centre-back on the pitch by then. Brought those two on for the two centre-backs. So, one of them could have gone full-back, but the other one would have had to stay centre-back. So, whether it was just he wanted fresh legs on, whether he's even thinking about Saturday's game.
Yeah, probably a bit of that.
Or he thought the ref was lining up for a booking. Very strange one. The players just look tired, and I do worry. And again, Jermaine Genius, all the commentators said that Bentancur commented how the training regime is the hardest he's ever had. It does worry me that sometimes, and we had this with Poch at times, where the players are just exhausted from training. And it's about they've got to manage them through, haven't they? But time will tell with these 2 games a week all the way to Christmas. Not to Christmas, to the World Cup. It's going to be tough. What else have we got in the comments? Ivan and Son, can it coexist or can't coexist?
No, only
can
one
they
of them can play.
Do you think?
One winger to rule them all.
It's about the work. Emerson and Kulusevski have got a good link up on the right-hand side, and it's going to take Perisic and Son. They've played, 4 games together, probably?
Yeah,
4 or 5 games?
and Son's not playing well, is he, mate? That's not having to go, but they're trying to build a relationship up where the like Son isn't playing well. It'd be completely different once Son gets his act together, which he will. It'll be a completely different story then. The runs will be there, and then once they get that understanding as well. So I think they'll be all right in the end. 2 quality players.
Conte has a big decision to make on Saturday's game. Does he drop Son? We've already sort of covered this. What would your be? So, Gibbo, your front 3 for Saturday. Who would you like to play? Not who you think will play.
Obviously Kane will play. Who's definitely going to play? I'd like to see Kulusevski start, and I think Son always scores against Man City, but I think you've got to start Richarlison, haven't you? I think you've got to start Richarlison.
You want Richarlison. Okay, James, who do you want to play? Not who you think will play.
Kane, Kulusevski, Richarlison. They're the players that played best today out of the 3.
Yeah, I agree with that. And 2, Richie wasn't brilliant tonight. He was good. He works hard. And those 2 headers, I can't remember the last time.
Well, we haven't even spoke about them yet, have we? We're half hour in and we haven't even spoke about the goals, which were the 2 best bits of the game.
Son gave the ball away so much. I think the trouble with Son, when it starts going wrong for him, he struggles to get it back, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
And look, mate, at the end, you've got to be honest, he's not playing very well. He is not playing very well. So what message does that send out to other players as well in the squad? I know they're obviously looking at Son saying, he's a great player. But, I said this, what HG said earlier. I can see.
There you go.
Okay, that's what I can see, Son, Kane and Kulusevski starting.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Richarlison start, but I don't think it's like sending a message to it. It's just like saying, look, come out the firing line and then bring him on. Give him a reason to want to come on in, literally, because I think he's desperate to do it in the minute. It's not working, so let's try him off the bench. But I think he'll start.
I think the other thing in particular is I think you get more defensive work out of Kulusevski and Richarlison, and we all know Richarlison's got a bit of dark arts about him. Yeah, and I think that's probably quite useful against City. Just Richarlison in particular, but Kulusevski does that as well. So I think even on form, you start to look at, do you maybe play the guys who are going to do a bit more defensively? Perhaps. Bottom line, we can play shit against City, but if Richarlison scores twice and we kind of defend okay, well, we'll get a result. So
I've got a question for you. So Romero has a plan for Haaland. If I'm Haaland, I'm going on Ben Davis. Would be mine, because he's. Would you play Longley or Davis at City, James?
I think Davies is better defensively in terms of particularly blocking. Whenever he's played for Wales against a better country, he's always blocking everything and putting his body on the line, which is going to be very necessary. And he did it against Liverpool for us at Anfield. Whereas I can't quite see Longley doing that. Longley's a much better progressor of the ball and can pass the ball forward a lot better, which will also be useful. I think you probably start Davies, which is probably why he was rested again today. But if you're Haaland, coming against Haaland, I think one of our midfielders is essentially going to have to, or one of our fullbacks is going to have to sit by the centre-back dealing with him for most of the game. So you have to double up on him, like teams usually do with Kane.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, HG says we have to give City something to worry about defensively. Son's pace does that. True, but the way he's been playing, he's not been stretching teams. That would be my worry. He's really got to just make those runs.
And he's on the bench, isn't he? He's not being dropped completely, Do just bring him on like we did with Kulusevski tonight, give him half hour, 35 minutes. But, if Son plays, hopefully he'll repay Conte's faith and do what he does against City. A lot of the time, it's just... I was watching him tonight and I sort of felt a bit for the guy. Do you know what I mean? He's just nowhere near at it. But I think Davis will play as well, mate. I think he's played Langley 2 games, and I think Davis will come back in. I think Haaland might try and get himself up against Dyer, draw him out a bit, and then just spin him. Because Dyer, I think that's Dyer's biggest weakness. When you turn him and he's running and he's got to turn around and run the other way, you get behind him. He's easy to do that to. So if they drag him out, that's who I think he'll go up against, and he'll just try and get in the box off him.
Do you want to say evening to Dermot from THFC till I die? How you doing?
Evening,
well, mate?
Dermot.
Evening.
Shall we discuss the goals? Well, first goal. What are your thoughts, Gibbo?
Good header, brilliant header. Perisic, that's what he does. That's what he offers, isn't it? You don't know. You're not really sure which side he's going to go in on. And he cut back on his right foot. Great ball. Richarlison's just pulled off, planted an header. Keeping weren't great, to be fair. A bit weak, but who gives a fuck? At the back of the net, didn't it? Just what we needed. Great. And like I said, Richarlison has been great, but he needed to get off the mark. The longer it goes without him scoring, it gets in his head, gets in the fan's head. So brilliant for him to get off the mark. Really good ball into the box. Good header. Probably the best ball we put into the box. So, yeah, that's what happens, isn't it?
I mean, it's the beauty about Perisic, isn't it, James, that he will go on either foot and he can do quality on both feet.
He can put in great crosses from different angles, which is something that's incredibly underrated. I think the last player we had who could really cross the ball was probably like Trippier, right? But he could only do it on his right foot. He wasn't brilliant on his left foot.
Yeah.
There's no one really else who can cross. Like, we've somehow managed to find all of the fullbacks in the world who can't cross the ball properly, which I'd have hoped would be quite a requirement for being a professional football player. I mean, I can kind of cross the ball, and I wasn't a particularly good football player.
I mean, Kyle Walker can't really cross the ball, can he, generally?
No.
He's got other
David
attributes.
Kerslake was the last fullback we had who could cross the ball. Remember him?
Yeah, but he was terrible. He was an awful footballer, wasn't he? Swindon Town in the first division was his level. That was it. Awful signing by Aussie.
Bet Davo loved him. He's been one of his favourites.
And then the second goal coming from, interesting, was that possibly the first corner that Perisic taken? For some reason, Sonny was taking everything. Perisic took the corner, got knocked out. Højbjerg, who
with
is
another
your new man crush, isn't he, Gibbo? Is he your man
Not
crush?
my man.
No, are you taking over from Shan as the cheese room's like Højbjerg fan?
Absolutely not a man crush, mate. The guy is a decent foot. I actually thought tonight he obviously setting the tempo and stuff's not his game, but he got hold of it, moved it around, had a few bad touches, but he had another decent game and another assist. As I said, he will assist.
Yeah. But it was a good ball.
That was a
good ball.
That was a brilliant header.
But they were trying to claim a foul, but there was hardly a touch, was there?
No.
Both goals, he basically was unmarked. His movement got
he just
positions.
Yeah, absolutely. But both the crosses had some whip on them, didn't they? They weren't just like lofted balls in. They were just they're just crosses.
The way things are going, Gibbo PH will outscore some. Well, yeah, it's not looking.
No, I don't think he will. We won't go mad, but. No. Let's get some respect on his name, eh?
Trippier was good. Yeah, Trippier was good. I said earlier on Twitter, his problem was he got injured at the World Cup, played the entire season injured. So he was really poor that season. So to us, we weren't bothered about selling him because he looked crap. Had we known he was injured, we'd have probably said, why the hell are we selling him? What I don't understand is why did the club sell him knowing he was injured? Was it because he was getting a bit older and they thought they can get 20 million for him? It just looks awful business now when you look at it. And we've done lots of bad business in recent times.
And he'd be an ideal wing back, wouldn't he? As a wing back.
My only worry about him is he mobile enough to play that role for Conte? He's a good right back. Certainly playing for Simeone, whose son scored for Napoli tonight in that brilliant win over Liverpool, which is funny as anything. Playing for Simeone has really improved him. That's why I was half hoping that Emerson would go there on loan. I mean, maybe Reggie will come back next summer if we can't sell him as a far improved left back, because going forward, I think he's all right. Defensively is his problem, and he will definitely improve. Simeone improves all defenders generally, doesn't he?
I think our plans for left wing back next season are pretty much in full in motion, mate.
Well, there is it in Udinese. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
James, have you seen anything of Destiny?
I've seen some of his goals. I haven't started watching Serie A football, but I have seen his goals, and he's contributing a lot of goals and assists. So that's more than we're getting.
Numbers
out
are good.
Our fullbacks. Well, exactly, and he's young.
Numbers are good. The eye test's good. So
we'll see how
That's
he
a good
does.
point by Joel.
yeah,
Should we want to leave because of backstage politics? Possibly.
yeah. He said
There was
something, didn't he, about
There
that?
was some stories, yeah, that came out.
I think there was a lot going on behind the scenes at Spurs at that time. You know, like I always said, the thing when Poch left was it literally appeared to be like a loveless marriage between him and Levy in the end, didn't it? It was just who was going to break first, and like the results just went south, and that's why they got rid. I don't want to we ain't going to get into a big debate about Poch, but that's pretty much what happened. I think there was loads going on. I think there was quite a bit going on, and they moved him on. So history now.
We had 18 shots, 2 on target, 2 goals. They had 9 shots, 1 on target, which was, I think, Guendouzi's shot from distance, wasn't it? At the end of the first half.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of block shots, which, they were causing us problems with blocking everything. Go on.
Somebody put in the comments as well. I mean, Kane wasn't great again. Kane's been scoring goals, and he's a brilliant player. But towards the end, I thought he was getting cut. I mean, I've got to say, actually, this is what we've got to bring in. Fucking free kicks. Get that bloke off free kicks. It's getting embarrassing now.
You know what's worse? Is Steve Diver, because he knows we're all watching it on the BT Sport app or streaming it.
Yeah.
Trying to claim that we'd scored a goal just to wind us up.
But, I mean,
Steve,
how bad are his free kicks? You know, you'd have thought, a professional football club, somebody would now be going, look, mate, I don't care if you're the England captain, but please,
Surely
please,
Perisic
please.
takes that.
Or
on the
son,
right-hand side.
Yeah, my son's like a 14-year-old lad, and he said, wouldn't Kane be better off getting Son or someone else who at least hits a target? If the keeper parries it, Kane's off the bits. If he's worried about, I want to take these because I want to get my numbers up, just say to get the player to at least get it on target and then get off the bits. His free kicks are frigging awful. They're pathetic.
I do not know a Spurs fan who thinks he should be taking free kicks.
I've never seen a worse free kick taker in my life.
Yeah,
because nobody else would be able to keep taking free kicks if they took free kicks as poorly as Kane does.
I agree. It's absolutely baffling, isn't it, James?
He just can't take a free kick. I've seen better free kicks when I played like under 15s football. That's all I can say, honestly.
Yeah.
I score better free kicks.
Speechless, isn't it, really? You're just speechless.
You'd think he'd be really good at them because he strikes the ball cleanly. And you'd think after a while he'd have developed a technique for taking free kicks that didn't go into rosy or hit the wall. But apparently not. Maybe they all work in training magnificently and it's something about the pitch we play on that makes them miss them. I don't know. Maybe something spiritual.
Get Perisic, Son, like someone's putting here, even Dyer. Get them on them. Get them just making the keeper make a save or, you know, like I said, just getting something from it. Kane, it's just fucking hitting the wall.
So,
hitting the wall, all the pigeons.
On this, I've just got the XG from the XG Philosophy Twitter handle. What do you reckon the XG for us was tonight, Gibbo?
Is it something like 1.04 or something like that? I ain't got a clue how it works.
1.34, not a long way away. James, what do you reckon Marseille's was?
I think they had like what? Maybe
9 shots, 1 on target, but that was from about 25 yards.
I think other than that, they may have had like 1. Or I'm going to say they had 2 good chances, so their XG is probably like 0.6.
0.2, apparently.
Oh my God.
Just on that,
worse.
Napoli, 4.59, Liverpool, 1.17. 4 ones.
Napoli missed a penalty as well.
They did miss a penalty. And it was Osimhen, wasn't it, who then got... I don't know if he was injured, but he was the one that went off for Simone's son, who then scored within a few minutes. But,
fuck Liverpool.
Can we just discuss... I don't know if you saw this, Gibbo, because I know you didn't see all the first half. James, let's discuss Hugo's punch when there was nobody around him, which he almost looked... Oh, just like, what was he doing?
He loves a punch, doesn't he? He loves doing that. He just can't catch
He
the
punched
ball.
it almost backwards as well.
I don't know. He does that a lot. He always parries it. He never catches it. I don't know. What do you say about that?
Can
He has
anyone
brain
in the
farts.
comments explain what he was doing? Surely Emerson shouts to him, or he must know. Goalkeeper must know that there was no attacking player around him.
I have a theory.
Why punch the ball? Go on.
Right. So he's going there. Ball's coming. A fly flies in front of him, and he goes to get rid of it, and he hit the ball. That must have been what happened. I can't think of any other reason for it.
You sure he wasn't having some of his wine that got him done for drink driving? I'm going to answer this for you, Crispy. The short answer is, based on the chances and shots you have, I don't know how they calculate it. They calculate how many. So each shot, a penalty, something like 0.7, 0.75, 0.95, what you expect to score. If you had that penalty 100 times, how many times would you score it? And I think it's slightly weighted towards who the player is. So we were expected to score 1.2, was it? 1.2 goals or 1.6? I can't remember what I said now. And they were
1.5,
expecting 0.2 goals. So if a shot from 30 yards will be a much lower chance of scoring. I don't really understand how they work it out, but that's the...
A penalty is like 0.75 added to XG. Something like that, or
Okay.
high percentage.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's basically like what they think you should score in goals. So with the Napoli one being 4.59 against 1.59, 4-1 sounds about a rough score. It's a bit of an arbitrary stat, but we're going the American way of trying to bring stats in over everything, aren't we? And that's what they like.
The other
I'm
thing,
sorry, I clearly haven't explained it. Just Google it.
Yeah.
John, did you see as well in the second half, Lloris sort of threw a ball out to Emerson, but it was like yards and yards in front of him in the second half.
Probably missed that bit.
Yeah.
I had to go and get the girls to bed at one point. So
he just has brain farts, doesn't he, now and then? He's a fantastic keeper, but now and then he just does these absolutely crazy. Oh no, I apologise. Sorry. I was that happy Liverpool lost. I was throwing the F-bomb around. I'll get told off for that at home.
I think he spotted Son or someone free and running and trying to punch it to him. Maybe you should ask Lloris. All right, I'll get that on that, Mum.
Diver. Text Diver.
We'll
See if he can get hold of Lloris at the end of the game.
James and I did meet Hugo back in December.
Yeah.
As he was wearing he was wearing a mask after the game. We weren't. And the next day we find out Emerson's got COVID, and then the next two games get postponed because of COVID. That wasn't worrying. So I think my personal view, I don't know what you think, Gibbo, is we got away with it tonight. Didn't play very well. Didn't start well.
No. We've pretty much been doing that all season, haven't we?
And we've got the 3 points.
Yeah. Unbeaten still. Yeah. Like I said on Monday's show, it's all about keep getting results, keep getting wins, just keep the momentum going, even though we're not playing great. And hopefully that will kick us on, and eventually we will. If we're winning game, I know it's an old sort of like chestnut they keep bringing out, an old saying, but if we keep winning and not playing great, not a bad thing.
I mean, Caller, we literally just did cover it. Maybe your stream YouTube's not doing so well.
You left the stream 10 minutes early.
Yeah. James, summary?
I think a difficult game against a team that played disruptive football. We won 100% on it, but two very good headers won us the game. So, and end of the day, you win games, you win titles. So when we do start playing well, we'll smash teams, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it, really, unless you guys got anything else to comment, and we'll wrap it up. But as I say, there should be a pod out tomorrow, and there'll be a YouTube on Friday again. As I said, Caller, Flat Cap Jack, we'll have a Man City fan on. We've got Paul Muir and Craig. Gibbo, sorry, what are you going to say?
I've completely forgot now, mate. Just going to say we've got like plenty. They'll probably get into it more on Friday, won't they? So we don't want to steal their thunder. Give them something to talk about.
So cheers, Gibbo. Thanks for joining me, mate.
No problem, mate. A pleasure. Always good when we win, which we seem to be doing quite a bit of at the minute. So
yeah,
Let's keep it
Absolutely.
up.
I've spent more time with James the last 2 days than I have in months, has to be said, because we've been working together. So thanks for your fine work on the bar last couple of days, James. Enjoy tomorrow when I'm on the night shift.
You start at 5, don't you? I think.
Yeah, I think I'm on the 5 close. Silent disco.
There you go. Well,
You're on the coffees in the day.
I'll see you at 5 then.
Yeah,
it's 2 hours.
So thanks for watching, guys. Please hit the like button and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.